Hey there guys, how's it going? So today we're going to talk about the brand new Sephiroth EX medal, our very first tier 8 medal. It's finally here. We're going up to 230% guild now, which is just... There's never a limit, is there? There's never ever going to be a limit. It's just going to keep going up and up and up. The enemies are going to get stronger and stronger, and we're just going to keep going on forever. It's good fun. We actually did know about this tier quite a while ago. There was a data mine that someone did forever ago, and I should look up who this person was. But this is basically when tier 5s was still a thing, and tier 6 wasn't even out yet. They data mined the icons for tier 6, tier 7, and tier 8, I believe. So we have known that tier 8 has going to exist for a while. There wasn't a tier 9 in that data mine, nor a tier 10, which doesn't mean that this is the hard limit of where the power creep is going to go to. I think far from it. I think this is going to go on forever and ever. It just means that at the time, I think they were like, you know what, we're still releasing tier 5s. We can give ourselves a bit of a buffer before we have to start thinking about what tier 9 and tier 10 are going to look like. So anyway, I'm getting way off track. Sephiroth EX is our brand new tier 8 medal. It's not called an EX Kai like it was in the Japanese version. It's called an EX Plus, which I don't know what I think about that name, but well, I do know what I think about it. I think it's not very inventive, but anyway, it's what it's going to be called in our version. So let's just roll with that. Let's talk about the new medal itself, and we're going to switch over to bang, our new graphic here. It's definitely not quite as good as my previous Breaking Banner graphic, guys. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out the chroma cut and everything for the new software that I'm using, but it's going to get better. I just wanted to get this video out rather than spending another far too long, trust me, far too long mucking around with this bloody MS Paint style graphics and all that. Anyway, Sephiroth EX Plus. So it's an all-target medal, our very first tier 8, meaning its guilds can go anywhere between 150% all the way up to 200 and ridiculous 30. It's going to debuff all of the enemies on the field by 2 tiers of reverse defense, by 2 tiers, as well as 7 tiers of power defense. Again, fantastic. It's just the power defense is kind of not so useful when, let's say you're using Xion EX or Kairi EX. Pretty much any time you use that, you're going to be doing a hell of a lot of debuffs already. You're not really going to use that, but the reverse defense debuff is definitely very, very welcome. As far as the multiplier goes, yeah, it hits like an absolute freaking truck. 15.38 multiplier. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, yeah, that is good, but it's not incredible anymore. And I would have to agree with you, hypothetical person. There are medals kicking around like, well, I rant about them all the time, how good I think they are, but Final Form Sora and the 358 over 2 days Riku medal, which I think are 2 of the best tier 7 medals out there, have a multiplier that's almost scratches up against the 14 mark, which, and again, they're only tier 7s compared to this one being a tier 8. That they are really, really good medals, and if you're using that as your benchmark, I don't blame you, but you do have to consider that this one can be used in any slot. 15.38 multiplier is pretty much always going to be the thing that the multiplier that this thing hits at, just because, again, like most of the previous EX medals, the multiplier is dependent on the amount of HP that you have, and that should be max almost all the time. I mean, we can invent hypothetical scenarios in which you won't be at max, but I mean, unless you use this thing at the front of your Keyblade, you take damage, and then you're going into the next turn, which you should never use this thing at the front of your Keyblade. Or I suppose an enemy retaliates mid-turn, and like, let's say this is medal 4 or 5 in your list, and the enemy has a counter over its head that is triggered by medal 3 or 4, whatever, then I suppose you won't be at max multiplier, but almost all the time this thing should be hitting at full power. So versatility in where you can use this thing in your slot is very nice. It can be a friend medal, it can be a borrowed medal, pets, wherever. That's very, very nice. Not ridiculous amount of damage though compared to what some of the medals are that we have these days, especially like the brand new High Score Challenge medal, of which this thing is a contributor, a 21% medal. That thing's hitting like a nearly 22 multiplier. Now granted, it's only a random target, which most of the time, if you use it properly, is going to be hitting as a single target medal. It's not hitting those ridiculous heights, but to be fair, it is an all target medal, so we can't expect it to hit those heights. Just quickly mention, obviously Dark Gnaw should go without saying, is a very good asterisk. It's a good Keyblade for it because it's a reverse power Keyblade, so that should go without saying, but you do have to be careful of that 4 gauge cost over there. On a Keyblade like Dark Gnaw, 4 gauge cost is a significant amount of the SP that you have. In fact, without additional traits, you only have like, what, 10 to run around with most of the time? Maybe even 9 if you haven't got it to level 25 yet. So do be careful about that. It makes you think, okay, which skills do I want to use on that? Do I want to consider using a attack boost 5 max with SP 0? Yeah, you definitely could. But what if you want to use it for raiding? Well, obviously you want to have, ideally, attack boost 5 max with Lux Plus, which is the best we currently have right now. But if you do that, then you're going to be sacrificing a lot of SP on a reverse Keyblade, which you don't have that very much of. Again, if you don't want to use it on Darknor, you could use it on like Fairy Stars, for example, which has a lot of SP to go around, so it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But you just want to keep that in mind. Obviously, it pairs very nicely with any metal that gives it a reverse buff to you. So obviously, again, Illustrated Xion goes without saying. It's one of the best metals in the game, if not one of the top 2. And you know which ones I'm talking about. And obviously, it pairs very, very nicely with Illustrated Roxas Dual Wielding EX, whatever the hell it's called, which buffs your power-based strength as well as your reverse strength. So it fits in very nicely with those. It is the first tier 8, like I mentioned, but not the only one. So Japan already has a few more tier 8s, and sort of cover your eyes up for a second here if you don't want to see what the 2 new tier 8s that are pretty much exactly the same as this thing are right here. Achoo! Just get a good look at those there. So you've got, well, I won't say them in case people don't want to look, but alright, we're back to our other screen now. So you do have an upright power and a reverse magic version of this exact metal coming along pretty soon with exactly the same multiplier, exactly the same amount of hits. Oh, bugger. It's got 3 hits. I didn't mention that, but this has got 3 hits. Obviously, the only difference are that the upright power debuffs reverse upright def. The upright version debuffs upright based defense, and the magic version is exactly the same as this one, but magic based defense is instead of power. That obviously should go without saying. So if those metals might fit into your Keyblade a little bit better than a reverse power one, keep that in mind before you go pulling for this one. What about the actual banner itself? Okay, so we have a metal pool here, which is pretty much what I was asking for when I was going for, like, you know, improvements that I want to see in our version of the game. I'm not going to be so arrogant as to imagine that people were listening to me, but, you know, stranger things have happened. So they've eliminated all the tier 4s and all the tier 5s out of the banners. It's not the first banner to do so, but it seems to be, this is what's happening from now on. It's good in the way that you don't have to worry about getting the crap anymore, but we've been pretty spoiled sometimes where we will get metal deals which have a very, very tiny pool, like between 5 to 7 metals, and depending on how you look at it, this is either better or worse than that. So you do have more diversity in the metals that you could pick up. There could be ones that you've just wanted to give a try before that you never thought of giving a try to before. I sort of wrote off Illustrated Iron as like kind of garbage when I first looked at it, but I'm thinking nowadays, like, there are very certain situations in which I could see that thing being useful for. Like the month that came out, I believe there was a really, really tough Colosseum, like a little egg that had a lot of HP and tons of defense, and a fixed damage metal honestly would have helped there. I did end up using my like Illustrated Kari, but that only got me so far. A metal like this, which could be pushing, you know, 25 bars of damage or whatever, definitely could have been helpful there. So I may have written it off too early, and I don't know. Like, I picked it up in a random deal, and yeah, I got a bit of use out of it. So what I'm trying to say is that for people that are wanting to diversify their metal pool a bit, this could definitely help out. Obviously with Proud Mode, that'll help out a lot. There are quite a lot of metals here though that are not super useful anymore. We do have 3 copycat metals though, so out of the 20 metals available, 3 of them are copycats, which is good for people that, like me basically, that are eternally going to be chasing an extra attack copycat metal. That will probably be the end of, probably be the death of me trying to get an extra attack copycat metal, but hopefully it'll happen for me one day. Do bear in mind, so you have 8 tier 7s and 12 tier 6s, so you might be thinking, okay, that's pretty good odds of getting a tier 7. Bear in mind though, that every single tier 7 though, if you have a look to the draw rates, has half the chance of appearing as the tier 6s, so definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, obviously the chance of getting a tier 6 is a lot higher than the tier 7, so where it could be bad than having a smaller pool is, like I've said before, when you do have a very, very small pool, you can do a ton of pulls and try and just brute force luck to go in your favor to give you decent traits or very, very good traits on a particular set of metals. Like here though, every single time you do a pull, it's a 1 in 20 chance of getting a metal that you've already pulled, right? So, well, of a particular metal that you want to pull again for to try and improve the traits on. So let's say you want to get Final Form Sora, you really want to get negative 60 ground or negative 60 aerial, whatever, on your Final Form Sora. You're going to be going, alright, well, it's a 1 in 20 chance that I get him, and then a 1 in 11 chance the trait I get is going to be right, and it's just really, really small. And again, it isn't even 1 in 20. It's less than 1 in 20 because you have half the chance of getting that than you do of getting other ones. I can't be bothered with the math right now, but it's definitely less than 1 in 20 of getting any one of those tier 7s. On the whole though, I wouldn't mind this being the standard for almost all the banners going forward in the future though. It would be nice to have 2 guaranteed tier 6 or 7 slots though. That'd be the next improvement I like to see in the banners, just so we can try and get those good traits a little bit more regularly. Saying that though, there is a decent chance, you know, that 10% chance of any of the remaining 9 slots being a premium medal, so, you know, before too long. And I believe that premium slot isn't weighted towards, you know, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, tier 7. I believe it's an even distribution across the board, so that's all pretty good. One thing to take a note of in this banner, and I believe in all future banners that are going to look just like this, is that it's a 5-pull mercy to get the trait medal, the trait equivalent of this medal. That is really, really friggin' sneaky, and you kind of have to admire the sneakiness of it. So let's say you do your 5 pulls, you don't get Sephiroth the EX plus. It's going to be weird to say. You don't get Sephiroth the EX plus, but you do get the trait medal of it. You are now invested in this banner, whether you like it or not, to let that trait medal not go to waste, because you're thinking, alright, I've got this trait medal, right? After the high score challenge, this medal is completely worthless, and thank you for those that pointed out to me that I was completely and utterly wrong in my last video, where for some reason I was thinking that the trait medals couldn't be used for high score challenge percentage. I was completely ignoring that you could share it as a friend medal or put it on your pet. Well, and you don't get the damage from it, but you do get the percentage. Anyway, it will be worth it for this current high score challenge, but after that ends, unless it's another featured medal in a future high score challenge, this is completely worthless after that. So part of you wants to go, well, damn it, I really want to get, you know, the Sephiroth EX proper medal, because not only when I do that will I get a free trait on it, but I'll actually be able to use that Sephiroth medal in the future. It won't just be, you know, this black and white thing sitting in my inventory that I can never ever use. So you're incentivized to pull and pull and pull. And it's really sneaky because there is no mercy. And just like in the past where some people could get hell lucky and pick it up on the first pull, which, you know, if you people in my Discord have already done, there are of course going to be the unlucky ones that just get completely screwed over and don't get it after however many pulls. So it's very sneaky. You know, they'll have 4 or 5 different trait medals that look just like it, but they can't use them because there's no way of doing anything with them. They don't have the original base material, which very sneaky. It almost hurts more to have that thing in your inventory and then be like, well, I can't use it. That sucks. Very sneaky. So keep that in mind. It's devious, but you know what? I admire them for putting us through our paces and making us, you know, think a little bit more about our pulling decisions. Losing my voice, sorry. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, guys, because I want to talk about the high score challenge in its own video, and I definitely want to talk about the anniversary news coming out of Japan. So we'll definitely get to that as soon as I can. But let me know, are you going to pull for this medal, this very first tier 8? Are you going to wait a few days? Because again, it is a 10-day banner. Should you wait a little bit and see what's going to happen? You know, there could be Cloud EX announced very soon. We could get news for what's going to happen in our anniversary, which I believe is April the 7th. So 2 weeks. 2 weeks till our... Is that right? 2 weeks till our anniversary? Whatever. It's coming up soon regardless. Is that right? Yeah, it is. That is right. Sorry, what am I doubting myself for? That is right. And yeah, pretty much that's it, guys. Let me know if you're going to pull for it. If you've already pulled for it, some people have shared the pulls with me on my Discord, so thank you very much. And apart from that, I'll catch you guys later. Alright, all the best. Bye.